Playing Sulfur, I've discovered 4 exploits in this game that were not intended but can actually help a lot and push your limits just a little bit further. This tech helps me beat my Sulflock run and can also expand our ideas for builds in this game as a whole. So let's go in order of most useful to least useful with these 4 exploits that I found. The first one is animation canceling. What I mean by animations is specifically the downtime between reloading, firing a bolt action, hammer action, lever action, basically whatever gets action, unlike an LSF Reddit mod. In Sulfur, these are namely weapons like the Dolphin, Snut, and Dart, which all rely heavily on these animations. After each bullet fired from the Dolphin, it follows with an animation cocking the magazine back until you can fire it again. For guns like the Snut, the animation is in the cocking of the hammer. Each time you fire, you have to cock the hammer back. Now, what affects these two the most is RPM modifiers. This basically makes it shoot faster or slower with more or less downtime between cocking. But there's some oils in this game that give you really good benefits at the cost of minus RPM. Now, an RPM debuff on the Dolphin and Snut means it will affect the cocking animation, making the time between shots much larger. But what if we could bypass that RPM debuff almost entirely with animation canceling? Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes. I put a scroll and oil on the Dolphin and Snut to make them shoot much slower. Now, the fun thing about animation canceling is that if we perform it, it will mostly negate the downtime between cocking. In order to animation cancel the cocking of the gun, we just melee immediately after shooting, or even better, you can swap to a throwable in your hotbar, which is even faster. Then, instead of cocking normally, your character will pull out the gun and it's ready to shoot much faster. Now here's the Dolphin with RPM debuffs without animation canceling and with animation canceling that does minus RPM. This is what it looks like when you shoot. This is how long it takes. I'm spam clicking, boom. Okay, now here's how long it takes for animation cancel. Spam click, boom. And here's the Snut. Spam clicking. Spam clicking. Alright, here's animation canceling with the same enchantments. As you can see, in both cases, we were able to get to the next shot much faster with animation canceling. There's a few weapons that you can do this with, but these were super practical in my Sulflock runs. And as a side note, the Dart's reload speed used to be affected by RPM, which is what you saw in my Sulflock video, and you used to be able to animation cancel it to reload faster, but after an update, it's not affected by RPM anymore, and the animation canceling just wastes time. Next up is a tech specifically related to the katana in Sulfur, the red blade that lets you block one attack and also has a bleed stab. There's a really interesting and insanely useful interaction this weapon has in its blocking mode. If you block an attack, it usually takes about 55 frames to attack after blocking. However, there is a way to make the time you attack out of block just 12 frames. I call this tech the perfect parry, and it's actually really easy to pull off once you get the timing right. In order to do this, you have to hold up the block with F and hold right click, keep holding right click the entire way through, and as soon as you get hit and block, you need to spam the melee button. This works similar to a parry because the timing is actually pretty slim, but with some practice you will be a master of the blade, feared by all women. Okay, now let's get into some slightly less useful tech in the game. They still have their place in my heart for usefulness, but this is more situational. In the caves, almost exclusively, and probably the sewers too, I think, you can break enemy AI without doing anything fancy at all. If you lure a pack of enemies into a position where they have to jump down a ledge to get to you, you can stand right next to where they land, and their AI will kind of break and they will just continue to jump up and down until you move or kill them or they attack. I tried doing this in other maps where I could have sworn it worked before, but I just couldn't really replicate it. Also, I will coin this term ledge tech because I was too lazy to come up with a cool name like perfect parry, but this one is very useful if you are attempting the SULFUR, since you start with no weapons besides your melee, and this is most useful in the first level, the caves. Anyways, we're on the last tech now, which used to be a lot more useful, but they since have updated hitboxes and AI, so this one has less use case, but still can be useful. Enemies in Sulfur can't walk through each other. They can body block one another. They can even kill each other too, but how do we use this fact to our advantage? Well, something that I found while playing my challenge runs is that whenever you kill an enemy, they do this little death animation, and during this death animation, they are actually still a physical object in the world, right until the end of the animation where they become a passable sprite. What's even more interesting though is that when you kill an enemy, you can melee them during that death animation, and it will reset the death animation. You can keep meleeing the body over and over again, and it will keep resetting until eventually it falls on the ground. What helped me a lot was luring enemies into a tight space, mostly on town, melee killing them, and putting them in what I call a meat grinder. They just keep getting stuck on dead bodies and will tank melee damage through dead bodies, continuously blocking each other and getting meat grinded, or whatever the past tense of meat grind is. I don't know. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and if you have any unique tech that you would also like to add, let me know in the comments. But that's all I got. Subscribe, or Baby Goblin is going to come in your house and eat all the food in your fridge while you sleep.